In recent years, the world has been shaken by increasingly frequent and intense natural disasters, such as the devastating fires that ravaged Los Angeles. These tragedies have become the reality for many regions around the world, highlighting the impact of climate change on our daily lives. Extreme temperatures and heat cycles are clear symptoms of an imbalance that goes beyond nature. The climate is changing, and with it, our way of life is being profoundly transformed. What once seemed safe and predictable is now a risk zone, and the consequences of this transformation not only affect the environment, but also the physical and emotional health of people. The increasing intensity and frequency of natural disasters are not just warnings for environmental issues, but also a call to reflect on our spiritual and collective responsibility. The world, both symbolically and in reality, is inviting us to change, and this change is urgent. It is not just a climate crisis, but a critical moment in human history where the future of Earth depends on our choices now. The intersection between the signs in nature and spiritual messages brings forth a profound understanding. Humanity needs to rethink its actions to avoid irreversible destruction. The wildfires that devastated Los Angeles in recent years are just one example of a growing global phenomenon. As climate change accelerates, events like these are becoming more common. Regions that were once considered safe are now facing unimaginable risks, and what was once seen as part of a natural cycle is now considered a growing and large-scale threat. Scientists warn that, with the rise in global temperatures and the intensification of droughts, wildfires and other natural disasters will become even more frequent and severe. This phenomenon of climate migration, where people are displaced due to natural disasters and extreme climate conditions, is a reflection of a planet in collapse. The rise in global average temperatures is transforming landscapes that were once considered safe into highly vulnerable areas for natural disasters. The impact of these disasters is not just environmental. They affect the economy, food security, and most importantly, people's mental health. The stress of living in disaster-prone areas, coupled with the degradation of air quality and food insecurity, is creating a cycle of social and health problems that already affect the most vulnerable communities. With each new disaster, the signs that we are heading for an uncertain future become more evident. What once seemed like a distant and unlikely scenario is now a reality at our doorstep. Every year, the number of tragedies increases, and the consequences of our own mistakes begin to exact a high price. The world relentlessly reminds us that our ignorance and negligence towards the environment come at a cost. Each fire, each storm, each extreme heat wave are manifestations of a larger problem that can no longer be ignored. If we do not act urgently, we are compromising not only our present, but also the future of the generations to come. While climate change and natural disasters can be analyzed from a scientific perspective, there is also a spiritual dimension that cannot be ignored. For those who believe in a Christian worldview, catastrophic events like the wildfires in Los Angeles are not merely the result of climatic and environmental factors, but also signs of something greater. They are seen as an invitation for reflection and repentance, a divine call to reconsider our actions and priorities as a society. The use of fire in the Bible is recurring. It is often associated with purification and judgment, but also with renewal. Throughout the scriptures, fire appears as a means of removing what is corrupt, preparing the way for something new and glorious. In the book of Isaiah, for example, we find passages that speak of the land being consumed by fire as a result of the sins of humanity. The land suffers because of the sins of its inhabitants, and its inhabitants pay for their transgressions. These words, written millennia ago, resonate strongly with the events we are experiencing today. The current tragedies, like the wildfires and other natural disasters, can be seen as a reflection of this prophecy. They are not just natural consequences, but signs that something needs to change, that repentance and transformation are necessary. It is not about immediate punishment, but a call for reflection and a change of attitude. If humanity does not modify its actions, catastrophes will only become more frequent, like an alert that cannot be ignored. Fire in the Bible is not only an instrument of destruction, it is also a symbol of renewal. The Apostle Peter, in his letter, speaks of the destruction of the current world by fire as part of a divine plan of renewal and justice. According to Peter, the heavens and the earth that now exist are reserved for fire, and everything in the earth will be revealed on the day of judgment. This vision of total destruction can be frightening, but it also offers a message of hope for those who await Christ's return. For Christians, these signs in nature should not be a cause for panic, but a reminder of the need for spiritual preparation. The destruction of the current world is an opportunity for the faithful to reconcile with God and prepare for the new heaven and new earth that are to come. Destruction, in the biblical context, is not the end, but the beginning of something new and glorious. The Bible calls us to look beyond destruction and to see the renewal that is to come. The catastrophic events we witness today, like the wildfires in Los Angeles, can be seen not just as punishment or retribution, but as an opportunity to rethink our relationship with God and the earth. Destruction is not the end, but the beginning of a new reality, where justice, peace, and harmony will reign. Although the spiritual perspective offers a powerful reflection on natural disasters, science also provides concerning data about the future of our planet. Scientific research reveals that global warming and climate change are intensifying events like wildfires, creating a cycle of destruction that threatens not only isolated regions but the balance of the entire planet. The data is alarming. The rise in global average temperature is transforming landscapes that were once considered safe into areas highly vulnerable to natural disasters. Droughts are becoming longer and more severe, and strong winds, such as the Santa Ana winds in California, are acting as fuel for devastating wildfires. According to scientists, if greenhouse gas emissions are not reduced, global temperatures could rise by more than 2 degrees by the end of the century, worsening these disasters even further. In addition to wildfires, other signs of climate collapse are visible around the world. More intense storms, out-of-season hurricanes, catastrophic floods, and prolonged droughts are becoming increasingly common. The accelerated melting of polar ice caps and rising sea levels threaten coastal cities worldwide. The scientific evidence is clear. The planet is heading towards a breaking point. The intersection of science and spirituality, therefore, presents us with a dual urgency: the need for global behavioral change, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions, protecting forests, and adopting sustainable practices, and the need for a spiritual transformation, leading us to a new understanding of our relationship with God and the world around us. The destruction caused by the wildfires in Los Angeles and other natural disasters is a painful reminder that time is running out. The planet is at risk, and the choices we make today will determine whether we have a habitable future or an irreversible scenario of destruction. We are at a crucial point in human history. The climate crisis is not something distant but a present and growing reality. With each new disaster, the world calls us to act. Responsibility lies with all of us, governments, businesses, and individuals. Concrete actions must be taken to reverse the damage already caused and prevent climate collapse from becoming inevitable. But beyond practical solutions, there is also a spiritual urgency. What we see today as environmental catastrophes and climate change is not just the consequence of our environmental neglect, but also a reflection of our disconnection from God and creation. The call to action is not only physical, but also spiritual. We must seek a path of transformation that involves not only the preservation of the environment, but also a renewal of our hearts and minds. For those who seek a future of hope and renewal, the Bible offers a promise: a new heaven and a new earth, where justice will dwell and pain will be a thing of the past. The wildfires in Los Angeles, though devastating, can be seen as an invitation to personal and collective transformation, an invitation for all of us to prepare for the redemption promised by God. This promise is not only a consolation, but also a call to action. Redemption requires humanity to recognize its mistakes, change its behaviors, and turn to the Creator. Spiritual renewal is as fundamental as the practical changes needed to care for the planet. The Bible reminds us that destruction is never the final chapter. There is always the possibility of a new beginning, a new creation, where love, peace, and justice will prevail. Therefore, the future that awaits us is not written in stone. It depends on how we choose to live today. We can ignore the signs and continue toward chaos, or we can embrace the divine message and seek a path of love, repentance, and transformation. The choice is in our hands, and now is the time to act.